What's going on, you guys? Back with another video. So in this video, I want to talk about narcissists and their obsession with cameras, security, and surveillance. Now, I did a video that is one of my highly viewed videos to this day about how to protect yourself from nosy narcissist neighbors, from your narcissistic neighbor who's always watching you, getting in your business, coming all on your property. And that is getting cameras. And back then, that had become a big thing then, like the Ring camera and everything that people are putting on their doors so they could, watch their property. So that was a good thing. It's a good thing to have. I have one now, and I'm glad I have one because I see it, and narcissists, it's like an obsession with them to be behind a security camera. And I noticed this at a job that I had where I was cleaning a building, and I went in a room where the monitors are. And I was told one time by the guy who, supervised us as cleaning ladies. He said, make sure that you cover this, and that area. It's okay to skip it some nights when the people don't come in, but there's a guy who sits and he watches everything y'all do. And then once that was brought to my attention, I just kind of put two and two together, because the guy who would always be like, he would just know things that you would wonder, how do you know about that? It's because he watching your every move, and he started to show these narcissistic ways by constantly coming after me. And it was like the more I gave him an explanation for something, the more he came back, and no matter what I did, it was just never enough. I never covered enough for areas, even though my supervisor had mentioned that I didn't have to every night. He would come and change the rules. It's like the rules were always different for me because I would entertain him. He only came behind me. He didn't go behind the other ladies. And when this became a problem, I complained about it, and, as narcissists are, they don't take a liking to if they feel like someone has to check them for their behavior, So he couldn't really punish me, but for his job, he continued to watch and would just kind of set traps and do little things that, I would quickly pick up on, knowing that he was changing things. They love to move the goalposts and make the job a little bit more difficult for you. So, yeah, they can be obsessed with being security guards. Again, I experienced it. I went through it firsthand. And they're going to always find a problem with what you do now that you have complained that they're always watching you. They're always on your tail and always trying to find something different for you to do, because that comes from the control they have in them. They have to control. They have this huge urge to control someone. And he found that in me until I wasn't going for it anymore, until I figured them out. So yes, you will find narcissists working in the security business because they like to just feel in control and in charge of things. That feeds their false sense of ego. Huge ego. Their huge false ego. So, another thing with narcissists that they are obsessed with is the cameras. They use their cameras on their homes to stalk and harass their neighbors. Like, we would get the cameras for narcissistic neighbors, the narcissist neighbors who are always harassing us, who are always picking and, just trespassing. They trespass. And they will get it to say that you're doing something unlawful. They love to just watch and nitpick with things that are none of their business. You will find this a lot with those type of narc neighbors. And cameras, they become obsessed with cameras like that. They would use those cameras as a way to weaponize, the law, and how they're gonna, call the cops on you for whatever reason. Just this sense of entitlement that you shouldn't be doing something because they don't like you doing it. And a lot of times it's because they want to be in charge of the neighborhood. They want to be in charge of how their neighbors, control their own property, how they run their property, and who comes and goes to their house, and their visitors. If they feel like, well, this is my property line and don't cross this line, they're really going to nitpick about little things like that and stuff. And I mean, people have the right to protect their property, but when it comes to narcissists and cameras, they use those cameras to point out the smallest things to pick with a person, especially when they know that the person know who they are, and they avoid them at all costs because they know what they're going to get if they go back and forth with a narcissist. And people just want to be at peace and left alone. And lastly, narcissists in the workplace. They love to kind of harass their coworkers by pulling out their phone and recording everything they do so they can report it back to the higher ups. They love to get you on camera. They think that if I catch you in the act, I got you, and then I can report you to human resources. They have a huge obsession with catching someone on camera as a form of control, because now if I can prove that you were wrong, you can get in trouble. And a lot of time this comes from narcissists are very difficult to work with. They're very hard. I mean, it's hard to have a narcissistic coworker who's always doing something they have no business doing. They want to do everyone's job except their own. And when you call them out, that's when you strike a nerve, and they will never forget it. So now they're waiting on a moment to catch you doing something that probably goes against the rules. They're recording you, and they're going to send it on up to a supervisor or a manager or someone in hopes to get you called out, And yeah, so those are the reasons why narcissists are obsessed with cameras, being security guards, and surveillance and things like this, because they can watch you. They already have a very dark habit of watching people, and so by these things being legal, that makes it even worse, because now you have to fight back with them with proving your innocence, if you have to do so. Because the best way to fight with a narcissist is to walk away and ignore, but in certain cases, you have to respond to whatever false claims they bring up against you, whatever they claim to caught on camera, So, yeah, those are the things I wanted to point out dealing with narcissists and their obsession with cameras and things like that. And also be careful with the people you let in your home to install things, because you will find that a lot of people in business of doing that type of work, and I know this too, are narcissists. And they're going to always be reaching out to you for an upgrade or a newer deal. They can also be watching you, So just be careful. Just be careful. I'm not saying this happens a lot and I don't have proof. But I know narcissists who are in the business of setting up cameras and mounting the TV and the LED lights and all this kind of new stuff up. Just be careful with stuff like that. So that concludes this video. Thank y'all for watching. Like, share, and subscribe, and I will talk to you soon.